Hi.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Thank you so much. Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for agreeing to be on my platform. I don't know what I'm talking about, but thank you for making me feel important. so,
Thanks for
um,
having me, Chika. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And I don't
Appreciate
know.
it.
So I am big on mental health, honestly, because I didn't go to school for it, to be honest. But I'm big on it because common sense, if you're not sane up here, you cannot be sane. You cannot function properly. So I always, and I call out bad behavior. I don't care about the gender, man or woman. Do you get? I don't care if a man is getting abused, I call it out, man, like that way. So even when everybody's like, I want baby girl lifestyle, guys too want baby boy lifestyle. Like the burden on the man is usually like too much, for my opinion. So I'm always like, come on now, let's pick himself. So mental health is huge for me, to be honest, and I like hearing and bringing awareness to it. So please, let me know what start here and ramble and say nonsense. Please introduce yourself, tell us, teach us, lecture us, enlighten us, bring awareness. It's all yours. Go for it.
Thank you so much, Chika. It's been how many years now? It's been like 20 years this year.
Forever, seems.
Forever, yeah. So
Yeah.
myself and Chika went to the same secondary school or high school, and it's been, we were in the same house, the same blue house. It was a boarding school, and there were some escapades that we did together. Yes, not talking about it. For those that were in our class, they know the inside joke.
They know.
We thank God, so
Yeah.
far we've come to the glory of God. We're alive and well, and here we are doing great things. Thank you so much, Chika.
Absolutely.
This platform has been, a blessing, and just being able to share my heart regarding emotional wellness, regarding mental health. It's always a joy. It's always a passion of mine. It's always a blessing. So
Right.
I look forward to having a great discussion. Feel free to interrupt me. If there are any questions, let them flow. That will guide me,
Yes.
because I could sit here and talk about it all day. This is what I do for a
Right.
living. And it's
Right.
also, it's a blessing when you're paid for what you enjoy. You don't feel like you're working. So I can
Amen.
talk about this all day. Those around me know. So you guide, help me with the flow, as the
Right.
specific thing you would like me to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yes. Yes. So I know you have things prepared for us, but so so during the holidays, right? It's usually like a mixed thing for people, because that's some people, like, it triggers bad experience for some people. Maybe something happened, maybe, for lack of a better example, that's when that uncle came to visit and then that child got molested, something like that. Holiday period is when some kids don't look forward to it, other kids want to look forward to it. And so can you, like, I don't know, explain emotional pain and how to deal with it? And I know that some people, a lot of us, are living are still trying to live, they heard from our past, or heard from, I live in the United States, and often, like, so many times I hear people say, my parents owe me an apology. And I'm like, how? I want to know. And they say things like, that was abuse. I'm like, how? I want to know. Because all of us, it flogged us somehow, because we're naughty. But when you look at it with today's eyes, you see that, okay, our parents did abuse us, but that's what they knew how to do. That's how they knew how to do. So how are you trying to be better? I'm raising two boys, boys, boys. They are not easy. They're not biscuits. But I'm catching myself not to hit them. I just use my words. And once I look at them, that stare of death, they align themselves back. Everything is not about getting the belt and flogging the child. But who is teaching us this thing? So people are still living with the hurt of, my mom did that, my father did that, I did not do this, so I did not do that. Well, okay, when are you going to let go of that and move on? So how can people, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Transition from living that baggage for good and forgiving your parents, and moving on. Because this thing it's easy for some of us that have thick skin, but some other people, It's a whole deal. Oh. I don't want to take over
Yeah.
this. Please just talk. Like I said, me, I can
No,
talk
that's
about
fine.
this thing till tomorrow.
You've started really well, Chika. You have started really well. I apologize if you cannot hear me. Just let me know. I'm just recovering from a cold. So if
That's
there,
fine.
yeah,
Well,
if
we
it's
can hear you
not
though,
clear,
but
yeah, okay. So I mean, Chika, you've touched on a very important aspect. I think first of all, let's back off before I get there to what is pain? Maybe we should start from pain in the first place.
right,
We hear this pain loosely used. I mean, pain. You touched me, that was painful. Different things. And pain it's anything that just says there's something wrong. It's unpleasant. It could be from discomfort. That is pain. Anything to
right,
you, which is why pain, even in medicine, we can't really, it's not really, we can't measure it. So usually in the
right.
hospital we would ask you, on a scale of 1 to 10, can you tell us? You are the one that can tell us. It's not something, we're still struggling with it. We can assess it objectively, where we can be
Mm-hmm.
like, I know your pain is a 10 over 10. However,
Right.
based on your body language or things, we can tell if it matches.
Mm-hmm.
But its pain it varies from one person to another. And pain just says, like I said, there is a discomfort, there's something wrong, and in some cases, pay attention. So pay
Right.
attention to it, address it so that it doesn't keep happening. Because when it's not addressed, it can go from what we call acute pain to chronic pain, or what you're saying, long-standing pain, that has not been dealt with. So in most
Mm.
cases, when you can, deal with it. So pain, for the purpose of our discussion, pain, you can have different kinds of pain. You can have bodily pain, which we call physical pain. You can have emotional pain, which we call, it could be mental, and we can have spiritual pain.
Mm.
Being a Christian and a person of faith, I may throw that here and there. You would hear that
Please.
because as a person, we are first, we have a spirit. God made us a spirit and then put us in a body. No, God made us a spirit, gave us a soul, and then put a
Mm.
body on top. So it's the soul region. The soul is responsible for the emotions, the will, and the mind. So that's what you hear. So when people talk about my mind, my emotions, when you talk about addiction, all that is on the soul level. And then you have the body, and they all work together, which is
Mm.
why we talk about wellness. We talk about holistic, wellness. Wellness is in the three realms. So you will hear me probably referring to the three realms because whatever affects one realm affects the other
The
realms.
other.
So it's on a deeper level. We are deeper than we think, and the more we
Right.
understand ourselves, the better we can help ourselves. So back to emotional pain, which for the it's again in the soul region. Again, the other aspect of the soul, the mind, and the will. But right now we're focusing on the emotional aspect. So with
Mm.
the pain, what happens is there are sections in our brain. Some people will be like, oh, it's all up in your head, or you're making things up because you can't feel it, because you can't
Right.
touch it. And as I tell
Right.
people, the only way you can really feel or see it is if you open up your brain. But as
Mm.
we have heard or seen, because you can't touch the wind doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Of course not. It's all up in the brain. I'm not just opening my brain up. We have imaging that can show us some activation in the brain. So we have all
Right.
those neuroimaging imaging techniques that we use. So
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to pain in the brain, there are different aspects of the brain that lights up, and it's been shown that it's the same area that lights up when you are. So if you hit your finger, the areas that light up, we call it's the anterior cingulate cortex. And I'm not going to say too much so I don't bore all those medical jargons. But the same
Right.
area in the brain that lights up when you're in physical pain is the same area that lights up when you have a heartbreak. It's the same area that lights up when you cry. It's the same area
Mm.
that lights up when you feel rejected. So, and then you then wonder, okay, you can't feel it. Of course, it's right there. It's the same brain, it's the same area that is lighting up. So, which is why, you're in pain sometimes, you can't pray. You're in pain sometimes, you're irritable. It's a physical pain, by the way, but you are
Mm.
upset. You are yelling, you are cranky, you don't want to eat, you don't want to sleep, and you're just all over the place. You can't even
Right.
focus. I tend to tell people, think about it again. There is a mind, there is the emotional component of the areas of the brain. So the more you understand that, the better you can know why you do some things, why things
Right.
happen. The why is the major thing, because if you don't know why, you can't fix it. If you don't know how, you can't fix it. How do you change what you don't even know? So
Mm.
the first step of changing anything is really realizing there is something to change. If there's nothing to change, you will be in your blind spot. You will never know.
Right.
So
Right.
that takes me now, with the pain, different areas of emotional pain. So we have what? Um, Disappointment, it could be mom, like you were saying, mom promised this, that promised this, it didn't follow through.
Right.
Friends disappoint us, they call us names, or it could be in a loss. I call it disappointment, I call it loss of anything. It could be loss of
Right.
health. So that's when we have medical diagnosis. We didn't
Mm-hmm.
plan for this, or we give birth to a child with medical diagnosis, or our family members, our parents develop a medical diagnosis, terminal, cancer, terminal illness, things we never planned for. That is a loss of something. Or somebody dies.
Mm.
That is a loss of something, of a life.
True.
There are different things, and the abuse. That's a loss of health. That's what I call it. That's a loss of you took something from me when you abused me. That's what you did. So you stole something from me. That's a loss of something. So we have those categories where at the end of the day, the loss, you can call it delay, you can call it disappointment, all lead to emotional pain. Nobody flogged you,
Mm.
like you said, but the words, they're like canes. Those words hurt.
Right.
I've heard it, and then I even hear some of my clients say things like, "My mom said she never loved me. My mom said she should have aborted me. My mom said she tried aborting me multiple times, but I
Mm.
came. My mom, I hear a lot saying, my mom never told me she loved me. My mom never hugged me. A child should grow. That
Right.
leads me to another, the growth. We are a product of our upbringing. We're a
True.
product of our background, our childhood. A child should grow with love, with
Mm.
sense of belonging, with sense of security, with
Mm-hmm.
sense of safety, with sense of trust. If that child doesn't grow with that, you have a lot of chaos, a lot of chaos. And you're just wondering when a child starts displaying tantrums or acting out, as we call it, you're wondering, it's not today, it's been
Yeah.
there. And that's
True.
why you hear things like charity begins at home. Guess what? Everything begins at home. Love begins at home.
True.
Hatred begins at home.
True.
Bullying is how it's addressed at home. Everything will reflect our home,
Mm.
which is why a home is a very key setting. Is the
Right.
dad there? Is the mom there? Are the siblings there? Is the community there? You were saying something, we were raised by the community. There was a neighbor. If you're doing something, there's a neighbor that is calling your mom, that
Yep.
is saying things, or dad,
Yep.
I saw your child at the junction doing this, stealing. We were raised by not just our parents, church,
Mm-mm.
activities, secondary school. You meet different people, and it's an
Yep.
ongoing process. So we
Right.
carry all that with us. If anything happens at some point, if we don't address it, we could have some consequences. And then you then
Mm.
come to things like, be it depression, if it's not addressed, be it anxiety, be it low
Right.
self-esteem, be
Right.
it, mood disturbance. Mood disturbance is another one of the mind. So it could cause a lot of complications
True.
that then opens the door to more problems. It's just more like one comes in and like, everybody, let's go. We have an open door, let's go, which is why you're
Mm.
saying it is very key for us to address it. Or else,
True.
if we don't address it now, it's waiting in the future. It doesn't go away if you don't address it. I still have
Yeah.
clients, I have patients that at the end of the day, they're in the 70s, and flashbacks from what they thought they had gotten over comes back.
Mm.
Why?
Yep.
Because you remember the old memories. You may not be able to form new ones, but suddenly your childhood memories is like crystal clear, which is why if you don't deal with it, they're coming back. They're just waiting.
Yeah.
So which is why we
It's
need to
funny.
address
It's
it
it's funny you
now.
say that. It's funny you say that because I remember like or rather I can understand, I can see how some people I like comparing children, which in my case I think that's very wrong. My mom never compared us, never, like never compared us. And now I'm a mom. I'm seeing in my two kids, these two kids are opposite children, to be honest. They're opposites.
Yeah.
But you cannot tell one I prefer than the other one. Because guess what? It's a stick in his head, and you be like, after all, I'm not your favorite.
Exactly.
And
You
to
got it,
just
Chika.
stick. And next thing you
That's
just
it.
it starts to grow. It starts to grow, and the child becomes resent. And
That's
you're
it.
wondering what happened, why can't I get through to this child? But because of that one thing you said, making the
That's
child
it.
feel less of a human or less of a whatever. And
Exactly.
then you can't address it. Or the one I like to use, this one is my I for me, oh, I'm not judging anybody. I will not take my child to because we live in America, right? And most of our parties are in the evening. I will
Mm-hmm.
not take my child to a night gathering.
I don't blame
Whenever I
you.
see a
I can
child,
understand.
I see a child at a party at 10 or 11 drinking a can of soda. I cringe.
Mm-hmm.
Because next thing you hear tomorrow is like, I was up all night, the child did not even sleep, very annoying child. Like, I mean, you set yourself up for that because
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
child should be
Mm-hmm.
in bed
But at that time, you're right.
and you
You're
did
right.
not. Or during the holidays now and holiday, everybody go to sleep whenever I want to go to and wake up whenever I want to go. And then school
Mm-hmm. The
starts and they're
structure.
like, I don't want to go to school. Well, if you had kept the schedule, you will not be going through this problem. So
You're
sometimes
right.
I just feel like sometimes we as parents we get lazy. That's the word I can
Mm-hmm.
find. We get
Mm-hmm.
lazy
Mm-hmm.
and we just like
Mm-hmm.
I can't do that right now. The child will be all right. After when you are 18, you will figure it out. Not really. If you don't
I
set
agree
that
with you.
foundation and water the plants and let it bloom
Mm-hmm.
properly, it's
Mm-hmm.
going to wither before it even gets to 10. And you
I
start
hear you.
saying things like, my child is stubborn, my child is needing, my child is not listening to me. Well, the child is used to you throwing money at the problem and not being there with the child. So all these things, I feel I'm not a specialist to be honest. Sorry, you
No, I
guys.
hear you.
All these
No.
things, I think it forms into the child's head and they start to grow and they get used to this lifestyle. And sometimes you try to keep up with the Joneses, you try to keep up for the child. And by the time you can't anymore, you become a bad parent.
Yeah, yeah. You're
And
right.
so
Most most
that's why I
especially
said
when
I agree that maybe our parents did not train us in the way we wanted them to train us, but that's what they knew how to do then.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what they knew.
Mm-hmm.
Any small thing, they'll carry. My mom, my mom spanked me one day for being naughty. After she finished spanking me, she grabbed a glass of orange and gave me to drink. Who does that? And so even if I want to hate, I can't because she
Mm-hmm.
knew that hitting me was not the right thing to do. But then she had
Mm-hmm.
to send a message, and then
Yeah.
just not under the same breath in Igbo, we're in here, like here, this drink and drink, and I'm like, I'll just point at your face, like in my mind, like, what is this? But I laughed about it and I just like, I had scars. But when I think about that now, I don't feel bad because I'm like, this woman spanked me, but then she always had a bad comeback. Oh. Now I'm my
Mm-hmm.
best friends.
Oh, that's nice.
Because,
That's
because like
nice.
I said, she didn't know better,
Mm-hmm.
but she understands now. And a lot of us do not grow up with I love you in our homes, to be honest. A lot of us do not grow I love you in our home, back home. But in my house, my oldest is 50, I'm 36. So we have different
Oh,
generations in my house. And you see how
yeah.
somehow we can
Yeah.
balance it with my parents. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Mama, free that thing, free that thing. Yeah, but your sister said, Mom, leave that thing. And now call my sister, like, mom said, like, tell her which one is better now. Mom, how far now? She said, I'll bring it to the new
Mm-hmm.
school.
Mm-hmm. The
I
new,
should not be
yeah,
like,
generation.
I said, if you do it this way, like, mama, I love you. She said, I love you too. And then we keep it
Oh,
moving.
that's
Because we have,
nice.
we have that
Mm-hmm.
relationship. None of
Mm-hmm.
my
Mm-hmm.
siblings hate my parents. My dad is late, but had memories. Until my father passed, he led a very good life, to be honest. Because of they did not know any better, but they were open to not make us, fall into wrong hands or wrong pits and all these things. So yeah, for me, I just feel like the bringing awareness is very important. People don't know. People don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Please go
I agree
ahead. Let
with
me
you.
not get
No,
emotional.
no, 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 no. Thank you so much for sharing that. You've shared several points that I will touch on. Like you were saying, what you were saying is structure. We
Okay.
all, as human beings, we like structures. Maybe not. Don't let me use like. We thrive. We need structure. We just don't always like it.
Right.
But structure is work. Structure requires self-discipline or discipline. Like you said, parents, at times it's really God that gives the grace. It's, you know, there's no guide, there's no book for the best parenting. You can have a
True.
book on medicine, law, different things.
Yeah.
There is no book on parenting, because
No,
really
it's different
one
formula.
rule, it's different formula. And you know, at the end of the day, it gets exhausting. Like you said, you know,
True.
having kids is not, it's not easy. It's not,
It's
you
not
know, you have to,
beans.
that consistency is what they need. And guess what, that is actually like the most challenging thing to give them, because at times you're a human being too. You're
Yep.
exhausted, you're
Yep.
tired, you know,
Yep.
you may have support systems. So at the end of the day, you can do all of this, Chika, and really it's God that really helps. I agree with you. We need to be intentional, but there's some parents that have done all they, you know, they could have done the
True.
best, and the child didn't still come out good. So at the end of the day, you do your best, you know, but definitely just whatever you can do, which is where, you know, even as parents, even as a spouse, even as an aunt or relative, we need to take care of ourselves, because remember, we
Right.
can't give what we don't have. So
True.
like you said, your mom gave what she knew. We got what our parents knew. And we, now we
Yeah.
know better, we should give better. So it's like
Right.
you said, the generational differences, you know, now things are getting better. And I thank God for your mom, who is also teachable, who is
Oh yeah.
welcoming to, you know, whatever suggestions.
We lost you. We are losing you. Uh-oh.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
We
What
lost you
was the
for a
last thing you
second.
heard? What was
Generational
the last
something,
thing
and
you
then you
heard?
just went mute.
Okay, so with the generational differences, things are meant to get better. And so as a human being, we need to be teachable, to learn,
Right.
to unlearn, to learn, and to
To
relearn. That's
relearn.
how that is transformation. We can't just be like, this is the way I will, you know, this is the way my
Yeah.
parents raised me, and that's the way I must raise you. No, it worked for them then. Guess what? It may be outdated now. It may need
Hmm.
to be revised. So I
Right.
like that relationship that you have with your parents. You know, above all, like you said, we need to be intentional. You know, it won't just, like you said, you know, things will not just fall into place like that. We need to be
Right.
active. We need to be, okay, this is what we want to do. Like you said, the child should be in bed, should not be having soda at 11 p.m. or midnight, and then we're wondering in the morning. No, there was something that led to that, and we should be intentional to either prevent it or make it better. So now going
Right.
back to the abuse
Yes.
situation. So I wanted to lay that foundation so that now we can understand better. So a
Hmm.
child was abused, let's say, let's use maybe age, you know, there are different abuse in itself. It depends on what age you were abused. That
Right.
person was abused, let's call it that. It depends on the age. Let's say I'm trying to find a name so that we'll be using that name.
Jane Doe.
This Jane Doe, thank you. It depends on the age Jane Doe was abused. You know,
Hmm.
If Jane Doe was abused, you know, before 3, we tend not to remember those memories. You know,
Mm.
and yeah, we tend not to, because ideally, you know, those memories are not yet completely formed. Now, some people
Fun.
remember what was done to them at 3, but you know, maybe at 1, definitely not. If I remember what
Yeah.
happened to you at 1 or 6 months, is a different ball game. You know,
Yeah.
but yeah. So it just depends on what age. But abuse is abuse, regardless of the
True.
age. Something was taken from you without your consent, without your permission, without your understanding. And if you know you were taking, somebody took advantage of your
Advantage of you.
ignorance.
Correct.
That's the key thing. That is abuse. Either took advantage of something, you know, that you did not give. So whether it was 1, whether it was 6 months, whether it was at birth, it is still a punishable problem. So if it
Mm.
was at 5, it was at 6, even as an adult, you know, you hear rape. You know, even as an adult, you hear even elderly people still get
Mm.
raped. So abuse can happen at any
Throughout.
age of
Yeah.
life, throughout, you know, life. And the key thing always still comes to the effect of the abuse on the person. You know, it's not so much the perpetrator, but the victim.
Right.
What happened, how it made you feel, because that's the person that will describe. You can assume you must be in pain, because no, I can't. Even in my line of work, I don't assume. I let you tell me how, you know, it made you feel, because like
Right.
you said, we all react differently. There's some people that are like, you know, They don't let it bother them. They dealt with it. But you don't sweep it under the rug. You don't
Mm-mm.
deny it.
Something might
You
trigger
don't
it.
act like
Yeah.
something. You just need something. Once something triggers it, then you break down. You break up,
Right.
you fall apart. So we need to be aware. It's not sweeping it. It's not shushing it. And several people were abused, and they don't, some people, you never hear it. The people won't talk about it. It's the taboo of
Right.
the family. No,
Yeah.
it's time to talk about it. Something
Yeah.
happened. And the uncle should not just go scot-free. The auntie should not
Mm.
just go scot-free. That dad should not just go scot-free because what? No. So
Yeah.
we should talk about it. If legal needs to be involved, get them involved, But above all, like you said, how can Jane Doe be a better person? We can punish the perpetrator. We can do all of this to the perpetrator.
Yeah.
That's justice. But how is Jane Doe doing?
Yes.
How is Jane Doe doing is the main thing. So if I were seeing Jane Doe, I would encourage Jane Doe, admit it happened. Accept it happened. In fact, break down. Don't
Yes. Let
minimize your
yourself cry.
emotion.
Oh, thank
Cry.
you for saying that.
Break
Woo!
down.
Thank you
Cry.
for saying that.
Crying,
Yes.
my dear. Crying, Chika, my dear. We call it therapeutic crying. Crying has been shown. There was a study I was reading or reading the other day. Crying at times is equivalent to you walking out on a treadmill. Good cry.
Yes.
So
Yes. I hear
let it
you.
out.
Mm-hmm.
Let it out, because don't keep it in. The dangers of keeping it in is that you start having body aches. You start having physical presentation that is calling your attention. Madam, you need to address something. Why?
Right.
Because there are places in our brains that is already telling you react. When you don't react, instead of you screaming, instead of you crying, you are actually numbing that place, which is where you hear, I'm numb. I'm
Mm-hmm.
numb. I
Mm-hmm.
can't feel things. Because over time, you didn't react the way you should.
You should.
You've numbed it that at the end of the day, it goes somewhere. It goes somewhere in the body because it should have come out. If it's not coming out, guess what? It's in somewhere. You will find out
And
where,
it's hurting
which is
you
where this
somewhere. Yes.
it's going to hurt you somewhere. So we need to talk about it. We need to admit. We need
Right.
to, as I say, we need to be aware of it by admitting, by not ignoring, by,
Right.
taking, if you can, accept something happened. Accept, if there's any responsibility that you owe to yourself, is acceptance. It happened.
Acceptance.
You cannot change what you do not accept. It's very hard.
Sure. Sure.
I can't, you cannot change what you do. It's when I tell you, Chika, I have a headache, is where you can be like, take Tylenol. If I don't tell
Mm-hmm.
you I have a headache, how will you know
I
how
don't
do you want to
know.
begin? So acceptance is number one. Something happened. Cry. Acceptance of your feeling, let it out. Acceptance that you're a human being, acceptance of everything. Cry. Yell. Somebody took something from you. What it was, be specific. That takes me into the specific. Be very specific as to what happened. Don't
Right.
just generalize it. At times we just talk about things. Oh, he didn't know exactly what happened. What happened?
But
Write
that's
it
hard
down.
though. That's hard because you're reliving it again. So that's hard,
You
but
have
I think it's
you it's
freeing too.
it is freeing. That's the word. It is freeing. And I at times I suggest dealing with that phase with a
Yeah.
professional. I mean, with a trusted friend, not a loose mouth that would then tell everybody what happened. No, a
Word.
trusted person, a trusted professional. As professionals, we're trained to do that. This is what we
Right.
do every day. So I always encourage, some people say as Christians, you should say therapist. Find a Christian therapist. They're there. God gave us all these skills for a reason to help us. He won't come down. That's why He's equipped all of us to help one another. Everything is on here.
Yes.
Is on this earth. So find a trusted one, a
Mm-hmm.
professional therapist, psychiatrist, counselor, psychotherapist, someone that is trustworthy,
Right.
reliable, and that can process it with you. So you're falling apart. It's probably your weak spot, but address
Mm-hmm.
it. Address it. So be specific, if this is what we need to focus on. For example, like with COVID now, see what COVID did with the disappointment of, we can't even travel
Everything.
like before.
Yeah.
My weddings have been canceled. Events have been canceled. schools, a lot of things changes. That's a disappointment.
Right.
That's a grief
Mm-hmm.
of expectation. And guess what? That can cause emotional pain.
Of
So that
course.
we shouldn't just, it's COVID, generalize. Oh, no, the
Mm-mm.
way you're reacting to it is different from me. What did COVID steal from you or take from you? What did it change in your life?
Right.
Admit it and then talk about it. So I say acceptance, be specific, find a trusted person, a trusted place, and then be intentional. Be intentional is on multiple levels. Okay, so be intentional. This now requires all your actions. There too is
Yeah.
getting the professional care. In here too is where you are now processing forgiveness.
Mm.
Forgiveness.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
can just interrupt as needed, because I can talk about for a whole hour.
Okay,
Forgiveness.
before you go ahead with that hour, because this
Okay.
forgiveness is where me, I always just like hide my face because
I know.
I'm dealing with that a lot because I'm human. Because you feel like people who know better should do better, but then they always
Yes.
do anyhow. But then let's leave that one for you to deal with. I just want to I guess what's the word? Refresh real quick. We're talking to Dr. Tiwa, a friend I've known for over, I guess, about 20 years now. She is an American board licensed physician psychiatrist. We are talking about how to dealing with emotional pain. And she has been dropping some very heavy nuggets that I think you guys should go back and watch if you're just joining this. So whatever hurts we have, whatever pain, whatever like emotional, physical, mostly emotional, it affects our whole being. So she's telling us more just in case. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment section or just send it in and we will actually address them. Thank you. Please continue.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So with forgiveness, I agree with you, Chika. That's why that statement we heard in secondary school or maybe in college, to err is
It's
human.
human.
To forgive is divine.
Oof.
Forgiveness, I'll tell you, is a spectrum.
On its own.
You can steal my money, you can steal something. Okay. There are some things that when you steal, or how do you help someone that somebody else killed her child? How? What do you say
Oof.
forgive? How?
How?
Spirit.
What's that book we
For
read? Merchant of Venice. A pound of flesh.
kind of flesh. You got
I
it.
want mine back.
I want my back. And at times, until you do that, you don't feel good. You don't feel fine.
Yep.
But do you really feel fine in the long run?
Mm-mm. Nope.
So I can
Nope.
stay here, like I said. Forgiveness is a process. I just tell
Right.
people forgiveness is a process. Be gentle with yourself. There is nobody can tell you, look, you should quickly. Forgiveness is a process, and to each his or her own. It's a
Mm.
process. Just make
Yeah.
sure you're not in competition with anybody. You're only in competition with yourself, your previous self. So I say forgiveness is a daily action. To help people or to help myself, what I call it is a gift.
Right. Right.
Forgiveness is a gift.
Mm.
When you view it as a gift, it's easier. You don't wait. When I'm giving you, it's a gift. I don't wait for you to deserve it, right? It's a gift.
Right.
So
Right.
if I wait until you apologize, then it's not really a gift.
It's not.
Whatever I'm packing, I need to package it as a gift with or without your apology.
Right. Come on.
And at times
Take
that is
special
the
grace.
most, that's why it takes grace.
Take special
It takes
grace.
the
Mm.
grace, it takes grace. And that grace must start with you.
Right.
You can't give what you don't have.
Right.
To forgive somebody else, you need to forgive yourself. For the
Mm-hmm.
pain you went through, when with abuse, we blame ourselves a lot. A lot. I caused it. It was my miniskirt I wore. It was what I said. It was because I was
Yeah.
drunk. It was because, no, we blame ourselves. We need to stop the self-blame. Let's call it responsibility. If there's in any way, looking back, it's just we learn. There's
Yeah.
nobody that deserves to be abused. Nobody. Nobody. That is not a reward for anything you've done.
Anything.
No,
True.
it's not. It's not going to be morally accepted anywhere. So it's never a punishable. You did this. That's why I abuse you. No, 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 no. It's never tolerable, not acceptable, and
Right.
we should talk about it. We should frown
Mm.
upon, yeah, we should talk about it.
You know,
So
I
what
feel
is
like I'm feeling like I need to have you on again, talk about forgiveness, because to be honest, like I said, this is something I personally, let me admit it here, I struggle with.
forgiveness is?
And I just like shut myself off, and I forgive myself and I forgive situation, but then I walk away. And my husband said that's even worse. I'm like, how is it worse? I forgive the person, I walked away. He's like,
Mm.
like I forgive you, but I don't want to have anything to do with you, like you don't exist anymore.
Cutting, we call it cutting of ties. Cutting of
So
ties.
that's
I
why I'm
hear you.
saying this is something
Mm.
that I think on his own is a one by itself forgiveness, because
Yeah.
yeah, it's because as you said it, I was like, this is where I go and hide, because she's screaming my name here. But
Yeah.
yeah,
We all struggle
yeah,
with it. We
yes,
all of us, including me. Like you said, it is easy. Your brain is in a mode of flight or fight action. Is in that mode. The amygdala is kicking and fighting and activating and saying, run, run, run. There's a
yeah,
lion. That's the way I paint it. Almost like you go to a jungle or a forest with people and there's a
mhm,
lion. Your
yeah.
first reaction is to run. Then every other thing, if you want, you see a lion, you don't talk, you don't negotiate with lions,
No,
you run.
negotiate, bow.
You run, you run, you run, you run.
Yeah,
So when you then get home is when and when you run, you have your blood pressure is high, your heart rate is spiking, everything, you're sweating, your heart is on 1,000 mode of delivering blood to you, like we need to escape. When you
right.
get home, you then settle and like we are
Hmm.
safe. Home is safety, we're
Yeah,
safe. However, in a case of abuse, in a case of pain, there's always a lion, Chika. There's always a lion. You can't even relax. You hear a
right,
sound, you jump. And that can lead to anxiety. You can't.
right,
Everything is lion. Everything.
right.
Everything is
Everyone,
lion.
everyone, everyone is a suspect. Everyone is a
Everything is a
suspect.
suspect. Everything you
Yeah,
see, because now the brain has changed your perception. When pain
yeah,
is not dealt with, it changes the way you sense everything. You're feeling,
sure.
you're hearing, you're seeing, you're thinking. It changes you, which is why
Mm,
pain is very important.
it is
Pain
important.
changes the whole of you. If it's not dealt with, you are not you. The pain defines you.
Whew.
That
Okay.
pain defines you, which is why it needs to be dealt with, because that's not the true you. That is a part of you because the pain happened. Remember, we said we're not ignoring it, but we must not let it define us. So the pain is not a destination, the pain is a
Sure,
process. It must
sure.
not be the destination, or else we will miss out on opportunities, on relationships, on life.
Right.
When you're like, oh, let's go to, you're like, no, 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 no. Let's go to you may meet your husband or your wife there. Oh, no, no, no. You may meet your future boss there. No, no, no. You may meet your investor, your sponsor, connection.
Y'all
Remember,
need
that's the way
Duro.
God made us. Onidurumi, you got it. Your guarantor. So
Right.
you miss opportunities. Remember that opportunities are in people.
Word.
Opportunities are in people. So what
Yeah.
do? We miss out on where we should go. So we get stuck. And when we get stuck, we get deeper in our pit and we
Yep.
get depressed. We
Yep.
isolate from everybody.
Yep.
The world is against me. The whole world is against me. That's the way we see it. And that's why you can't argue with somebody, oh, you must be making it up. No, because their reality is not yours.
True.
Their
Ah,
reality is
you know
not
what, Dr.
yours.
Tiwa, I'm so sorry to cut you. I'm trying to, because you said I can interrupt, right?
Yes,
I'm going to read the
please.
comments real quick, but I was going to ask you something, because you said reality is different. How do you, what do you say to someone who is in emotional pain, and how do you maybe either be there? Because in back home, like where we're born, Africa, right,
Mm-hmm,
Nigeria to be
mm-hmm,
precise,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
when you when you try to talk, you're like, you don't share go with the man up, or you know that kind of thing. Like those ones
Yeah,
alone
of
will make you
course.
not even choke it up. You don't share now. Should be the deal that you should do
Yeah,
your own. And you're like,
yeah.
are you going to even listen to me? And then that's where the bottling, comes, starts to bottle things over. If I speak up, they will shut me down. And then guess what? Everything starts to be in our head, internalized in our head. Until one day, I
That's it.
see it
There's an
as a bottle
explosion.
of a can of soda where you
Yeah,
shake, shake, shake,
that's it.
shake, 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 shake. Then you open it. What happens?
There's an explosion. You got it, Chika. That's it. And you hear
Let me
snapped.
read this real
Then you
quick so
get,
that you can
yeah,
and
snap.
you get thank you. Okay, somebody said, oh, thank you. Chika reliable, easy to speak to. My head is swelling, Joe. Please, 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 please. Auntie Jimmy said, the talk about it part is relative based on your temperament. How can introverts go through this phase? We can bottle things for Africa. I just mentioned that.
Absolutely.
That's sad. Forgiveness
Hmm.
is a gift. It is. It is. Opportunity and people, good talk. Okay, please go ahead. I just wanted to read that
Okay, let me
quickly. Please
quickly
address.
address. Yeah, let me address the an introvert quickly. So
Yes.
um,
Mhm.
an introvert, like he or she said, I don't know if it's as a person said, an introvert is very, very in touch with their feelings. It's just more so not saying it because it's exhausting talking.
Right.
An introvert doesn't like talking for too long
Mm-mm.
because it's draining. So what my suggestion to an introvert is write it down, get a journal. The introverts make the most, so I won't make a general rule, but introverts can write too very well. So get a journal, write your feelings down. Since you can't
Oh.
really talk,
Mhm.
write it down. And then, if possible, find a trusted place to process it. Professionals know how to handle whether introvert or extrovert. One thing, the only advice I would give is be open. So when it's time to speak, you need to speak of the emotions. Because no matter how we read what you've written, we can't make out the emotions. That
True.
piece will be lost. Just like, if we read WhatsApp or we read messages, I'm the one interpreting it. At times I don't interpret it based on you. I interpret it based on my own
Right.
understanding. And at
Right.
times I could misunderstand it, which is why
Lost
we
in
talk on the phone.
translation. Yeah.
Though talking to can cause miscommunication, but
But it's better than
writing
you
down
reading it.
is
Mm-hmm.
better than reading it. So write it down is what I would suggest to the introvert. Find a trusted person, discuss it, and make sure the person gets it. The
Mm.
person that you're discussing, make sure they understand it. However, I will tell you this: no human being can understand 100% the way you feel. There's that person, they've not made the person. The only person that understands 100% is God Almighty, because He's all knowing. Nobody
Mm.
else. So even two people that have been abused, they still don't understand it 100%, because the kind
Right.
of abuse has different
Levels
is
and
different,
grades.
is relative, and abuse is don't let me say is personalized or customized to your experience. We only
Right.
have an idea so that I can relate, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be what that brings me to the purpose, Chika, at times of that phase of being intentional, how to manage the pain. It's time
Mm-hmm.
to, if possible, if you can, when ready, to see the purpose in that pain. Turn that pain to purpose. So I have people that, they're disabled. Now, guess what? They're helping people with disability. And we call
Mm.
disability, is just a different kind of ability.
Right.
It's
Right.
just the way you see it. How have you transitioned it? How have you, how do you see it? So the way you see your pain, I'm not saying don't perceive it as what it is for you,
Right.
but don't stay there. How can you transition it into purpose? It has
Mm.
happened, and I'm really sorry it happened. We can't undo it.
True.
We can't change it. We can't erase it. In fact, don't bother trying to erase it because it happened. At times, the energy we spend trying to erase it, we should be using that energy to try to translate it or transform it into something greater. Remember, I said, don't let the pain define you. You define the pain. That's
But
being
okay,
intentional.
let me for what you just said. How can someone actually know, or I don't think everybody has the maturity to realize something. Somebody has
Yeah.
to help them. So how do
Yes.
we, let's say for someone who neutral doesn't know someone is going through something, how do we get through to people and make them even open? Like, what are the right words to
That's true.
say?
That's yeah, that was your question. Okay. So to for the right words to say to Jane Doe would be, if you notice that Jane Doe is sensitive to pain. So I'm answering you as to how can you identify without the person
Right,
speaking to you. Because if I
right,
don't come and tell you I was abused, there's no way at times you will know. So if you
exactly.
can realize that, okay, there's a pattern of something here.
Mm-hmm.
There's negative pattern, there's positive pattern. As a friend, as a family, what is it? If this person the person cries easily, withdraws easily, keeps quiet at some things, does not eat, is quick to say no, even before she hears everything that you're about to say.
Yeah.
At an event, the person withdraws, phone calls, the person shuts down, movies.
Mm.
So, what I'm asking of you as a good friend is pay attention to that person. Attention is extra focus, and things will get uncovered always.
Yeah.
And that's awareness. Awareness, which is what we're doing, is we're bringing all our focus to mental health,
Yes.
giving it light, exposing it so that we can deal with it and know more. If we can do that for people around us, that is genuine care.
Mm.
That is genuine love. That is what we all want. And it's when you do that, then somebody can eventually maybe open up to you and say, Chika, I was abused. Why? Because you've earned the trust. You've earned that you're reliable.
You've
Because
earned that
somebody
your
will
mother does
not
not
get.
have diarrhea.
There you go. That your mouth is not loose. That your mouth
Just
is
saying.
can be trusted. So
Right.
you are not, you don't have to be the therapist for them. No.
Oh yeah.
Because it may be overwhelming for you. It may even trigger things for you, your own pain. Get them the right care, the resources. Reach out. Who is a therapist? Reach out. If it's America, they're therapists, online. There's
Yeah.
several. Reach out. If it's Nigeria, I'm praying that there will be more. Because the last I checked, there were 250 psychiatrists, and I don't know if there are 60 therapists in Nigeria. There are 200 million people in Nigeria. So one psychiatrist is almost responsible for, is he how many? 40? 40 million or what? So we need to talk more, which is why I'm so passionate about this, that I wish more
Yeah.
people can, but the people we have, let's help them. Let's encourage
Mm-hmm.
them to even want to do more. And let's encourage more people to go into this field. And that's why at times
Yes.
some people that have been abused connect better. Have you noticed the times I can speak? During a heartbreak was when every patient that had a heartbreak, I connected on a deeper level. I was hearing
Mm.
things 100 times better.
Yeah.
And the things they weren't even speaking.
Mm-hmm. And that's
At
yeah.
times, at times our pain is our gain.
Mm.
Only when we're ready to transform it into that. It's a
Right.
process to go from pain to gain.
Of
It's a
course.
process to go from pain to purpose. Process. It's painful. I won't tell you it will not be painful. I will not tell you it will not be challenging, but it will be
Mm-hmm.
worth it. Because at the end of the day, you will look back and be like, I'm glad I didn't let it hold me. I'm glad I broke that grip.
Right.
I'm glad. So pain is so huge.
Mm.
Is so huge. Is so huge that we need to talk about it. Remember, I said in the beginning, pain is just something that is also calling your attention to something.
Right.
Don't
Right.
ignore it, or else it will
Mm-hmm.
become a long-standing pain. If you don't,
Yeah.
pain can actually make you bitter, or it can make you better. You
Right.
choose. You
You
have to choose.
choose. I have an ignorant question. Forgive me.
Go forward.
So we troubled individuals come to you guys, you psychiatrists and therapists, right? and we dump our troubles on you, who do you dump your troubles on?
Great question, Chika. I don't think anybody has ever asked me. My clients haven't asked me, my patients haven't, in my coaching stuff, so it's a great question that you ask, which is why I cannot give what I don't have. If you came to me, Chika, and you're telling me, and then I break down and I'm crying, what would you tell me?
Are you okay?
Are you okay? Go and get your therapy.
Abby?
So
Yeah.
it's very important for me in this field for me to have wellness because I can't give my best
True.
when I am not my best. So how do I get my best? I'm a person of faith. God brought me here. God has given me the capacity. But first of all, I receive all the grace for myself. That's the only way I can give that grace to anybody else, whether husband, whether children, whether siblings, whether clients in my coaching, whether patients. I can't give. I mean, I can't give. But have I struggled with some of these things? Absolutely. There are times, you struggle with anxiety, you struggle with feeling down. I'm a human being.
Of
Every
course.
human being is bound to have all these emotions. It's
Yeah.
just how long do they stay for? That's the difference. You're allowed to be angry. How long? You're allowed to cry. How long? You're allowed to be angry, yell. How long?
Yeah.
You're allowed to be anxious. You're allowed to panic. What you're not allowed to is stay panic. You're not allowed to stay anxious. You're not allowed to stay angry. Why? Because there are
Wow.
complications that will destroy you and destroy everybody around you. And you'll be toxic to the environment. Because toxic people hurt people.
True.
Hurt people, hurt people.
Hurt people.
Broken people, break people. We're all broken in
Right.
some shape or form anyways. But if we don't deal with it, we will cause it. It's an ongoing cycle. So we need to be intentional to break it. If I don't deal with my own pain, I can't help my clients with their own pain. I can't.
See the way I'm
So I
smiling.
talk
Don't even
about
understand
wellness.
how. Don't even understand how excited or honored I am to just having you and speak with me. Because
My pleasure,
last time
Chika.
really well, last time the first the way back then was Twakala Blue House girl.
I know.
then and so now
Up
seeing
blue, you're
how
wearing blue.
far up I know, right? Up blue. Oh, see, I have blue.
There you go.
Just see how we've come out or we've turned out, and our mates have, and it just makes me feel happy that I'm able to connect. And like I say, yeah, I'm not smart, but I'm glad to have smart people around me that make me feel smart, and I learn every day. I do this show honestly for people, but mostly for myself, because I started Charlie Chika as just a joke to inspire people and stuff, but now I'm like, what are we talking about? But
Oh,
I'm
that's
using my little
sweet.
platform, my free platform, to bring
Yes.
things to enlighten,
Yes.
to awareness. And so thank you, honestly. That's why I was just smiling, because I'm just like, wow, I'm hearing all these things. I'm like, what is she talking about? It's making sense, but like,
To connect
but
with you, I know. I know. I
yes,
know.
again, I go back to watch the videos, these things, and I post them so people can go back and watch them. And before we round off, please let me have your word. Are you going to come back on this show and talk about something else with us?
Chika, do I have a choice? No, it would be a great delight. It would be an
Thank
honor.
you.
It would be an
Because I
honor.
want to
Because thank
bring
you. Thank you.
because I want to bring because I have conversation with people, on the back end a lot, and a lot of people are going through a lot of things. And from the culture we stem from, people don't speak up. They hide behind, they don't speak up. Some people don't watch this live because they don't want to be seen on live.
Yeah.
So a lot of people that watch, they watch afterwards.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, wow. When I heard that one day, I was like, wow, okay, that's what made me actually continue finding something for guests and looking for things that people want to talk about and to help people. But people are really going through a lot mentally
Yes.
too. And
Yes.
so, yeah,
Yes.
who's sending me a
Yes.
question?
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, someone just sent in a
Absolutely.
question. Can I read that real quick? He said, how do people with mental health maintain social connections, if you don't mind me asking? Yeah.
No, it makes sense. You know, one of the other things I was going to add to how I maintain my own wellness
Yeah.
with God and then the support of people around me. I have great support,
Yes.
family, family has been a great support. Husband, children, siblings, friends. Oh my God, I've been blessed. God
Yes.
just get, which is why we talk about it another time. The relationship around you matters. They can either break you or mold you, which is why you
Right.
have to be intentional to find the ones that can help you. If they're toxic to you, you need to put them in another
You
in
set
another
boundaries.
category. Yeah, you have
Yeah.
to put boundaries because at that time you need what will nurture you. Like you said,
Yeah.
if you're exposing yourself, you need nurturing, sunlight, water,
Fertilizer.
everything.
Yeah.
You need fertilizer. You need things that would expose and help you be a
Mm-hmm.
better person, not somebody
Right.
else. So specifically to this question of how do you, if the person is going through, let's say, depression, anxiety, right? How does the person make connection with people? Is that what did I get that well? Social
You did
connection.
really good. Yeah. Social. How do people with mental health maintain
Yeah,
social connections?
yeah. So with social connection, it is very exhausting
Right.
at that time, at that phase. I want you to remember that that phase is just a phase.
Right.
You are not your depression at that time. You are not your anxiety at that time. It's just a phase of your life at that time. It is going to be exhausting to connect with
Mm.
anybody because you can't even connect with yourself. We're struggling. The first thing is you're even struggling to connect with you. You just feel disorganized all over the
Mm-hmm.
place. Your brain seems chaotic. A lot, you have different things happening. So whatever you can offer, try. Don't force it.
Mm.
Forced would cause more pain because you say the wrong thing. The other person
Right.
will misinterpret. That's why we say everybody is going through something, but not everybody has that understanding yet. So
True.
I would suggest, if you must, choose the ones that they'll probably understand you. Choose your safe space. So if you're going for a friend's birthday, the girl probably knows you're there.
Mm-hmm.
You're really there as a sacrifice, but nothing is expected of you. Whatever you can do, do it. But let the friend know you are at a phase right now that you're not available.
Right.
I'm not right now. I'm not available. It doesn't mean that next week you won't. But as of right now,
Right.
communicate that to a friend. Always communicate because we can assume. Assumption
Mm-hmm.
makes a terrible thing out of
True.
relationships. So
True.
let the friend know, Chika, I'm not my best today. I'm having a challenging day. Like I told you, I have a cold.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that already sets the expectation so that, if you hear me hacking or coughing, it's not like, whoa, Tiwa, you should have just said we can't do it today. No, but I've just told you I'm not having a great day.
Right.
It's like, how can you, if the other person can step out of theirs to, okay, that's okay, take your time and I'll be here. That also helps. So
Mm-hmm.
to answer your question specifically, whatever you can give, remember you can't give what you don't have.
You can't give what you
So
don't have.
find what you can give, no matter how
Right.
small. That is what you have at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And give it to not someone that can trust it, but someone that can understand it at that time. I'm not my best at this time. This is just a phase. Remember, it is not a destination, it is
Mm.
just a phase. So
Right.
tomorrow it could change, but give what you can. Connect, go watch a movie, laugh when you can. Comedy shows,
Laugh. Ooh.
laugh. Laughter is a good medicine.
Dance if you
Endorphins
want to
are
dance.
dance. I love
Mm.
dancing. That also helps me. So dancing, at times I'm just dancing by myself, just it's just me and I'm the one that understands it. I dance and I feel better. It's a workout. So whatever
Yeah.
works for you. But the key thing I'm driving is you can't connect with people if you don't have some connection with yourself. That is the point
Right.
I'm driving.